I want to do a quick video to show visually how to change the oxygen sensor for your animal actuator pods. So these pods are going to be with your OxyCycler system. Usually it's like a model A84. It's going to be your animal setups. It's the pods that take sensor model E445. So this is what your replacement sensor is going to look like. Sometimes it's clear rather than white, but basically it's a small squat style sensor. It has a connection at the top, some threads at the bottom, and it's located right inside your actuator pod. So this pod normally sits attached to an animal chamber. Depending on how your access to it is, you may not even need to take it off the chamber. I've taken it off here just so we can see. But we need to get inside of it. If you have a lot of room to operate, you can leave it right attached to your animal chamber. It'll just sit there like this. But you only need one tool for it, a flathead screwdriver, because you have 4 screws in the corner, and we need to open those up to take the cover off the pod. You do want to be careful. The screws, they're made of plastic, so if you're rough for them, they can break. The top part of it can break. It doesn't ruin the screw. The screw still works, but it's just a little harder to reach if you do that. So I like to just take care and make sure I'm not slamming it around. Once I have it loosened, I just make sure it slides right off, and we can see the inside of the pod. So the sensor is going to be oriented in this position. It's going to have this gray and brown cable where the white clip attached to the top, and then it's screwed into a base there. So to get to the replacement, we have to take this clip off. Your flathead screwdriver is going to come into play again. There's a small little lip holder. You just slide your Phillips head screwdriver right down there, push it forward, and then be careful when you do it, but you just take the plug out. So I'll show you what, there's this little tooth. That's what that lip catches onto, so we're just sliding that lip forward gently and pulling the clip out. So this clip is it powers the sensor, and this is where the reading comes from. You want to be careful you're not pulling on the wire itself, because if you pull this out, you're not going to get a reading on your sensors. If you pull one of these wires out, the brown or the gray, if you do, it's not a huge deal. It can be repaired, but we want to avoid that. So now we have our sensor able to be accessed, and then you just unscrew it by hand. Just turn it counterclockwise, and it pops right out. I have a piece of blue tape on this just marking the date that it was put in, but it looks just like your replacement one. Everything will be white or clear. So, and you can see this is the housing it sits in. The sensor only fits in one way, so you can take your replacement. You'll have a little black O-ring and some threads, and you just hand tighten it. You want to get it tight, but you don't need it doesn't need to be tightened to the point where you can't spin it. So I can't, if I gave it a lot of force, I could turn it more. I don't need to go, excuse me, go that far. So that's good enough. It's in there nice and snug. I take the clip. Here's that little white piece that holds it in, so I point the side that has the teeth on it and just push it in. It kind of clicks. You can see it and feel it fit snugly in there. So it's screwed in, clipped in, so now it has the electric connection, and that's really all there is to it. Now we just put the cover back on and tighten these down. and it's all set to be used again. Now, whenever you change one of these oxygen sensors, these model E445s, it is a good idea to recalibrate before using. New sensor is going to have different calibration coefficients than your old sensor, so make sure once you change it, recalibrate. Calibrate monthly thereafter. It is an electrochemical sensor, so it drifts, and once a month calibration will correct that drift, keep your reading nice and accurate. And about every 2 to 3 years, depending on oxygen exposure, you'll have to replace